Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Happy Sunday. I hope you've had a good week so far. I am a bit tired today. I woke up at 4:30 to watch the Australian Grand Prix, so apologies if I sound a bit sluggish. But this is episode 11 of our Flight Simulator 2024 career mode. Since the last episode, where we officially launched First Class Air, I've been grinding away through airliner missions of my own, and I have to say the income from these flights is starting to get pretty serious. Airline operations really are where the big money starts to come in. And you join me on short finals, bringing our aircraft in for this landing in the north of Italy. I forget where we were flying into at the time, as this has been recorded probably a good week and a half ago now. But a fairly smooth touchdown, not too bad at all. Nothing too serious, nothing too amazing, absolutely bang on average if I'm being honest. So decelerating now, and for some reason this aircraft likes to do a complete full stop in the runway rather than just rolling on, and I'm not really sure how to get past that part. So throttling up, and we can see the hold short just to our left hand side. So retracting the flaps, and we'll quickly vacate this runway as best we can. And there is our clearance by the tower. And after having quite a few flights with this, I am still in the same mindset that I was when I first initially flew this aircraft. I'm not amazed with it. I'm happy it's my first airline and we can do these own missions ourselves. I honestly can't wait for just to purchase a 73 or an A321. It's around about 80 million to 121 million between the two aircraft. Yeah, just this aircraft, it's because I'm not used to flying it. But as we pull onto stand and skip ahead, we are somewhat spawned inside this radio antenna that is just plonked in the middle of an aircraft stand. Classic Flight Simulator moment right there. So we'll shut down and we'll get back to headquarters. There we are, mission success. And there's the XP, but we're not really bothered about that. We've got enough of it in our back pocket at the moment. But just short of 420,000 credits, which is not bad for a regional European flight. But with our balance now sitting at 3.2 million credits, we might be able to actually expand the fleet. So let's head over to the used aircraft market and see what's available. And there it is, the dream aircraft, the 737, but that comes in at 79 million, so a bit out of reach for now, but we can afford another Heart Aerospace for 3.1 million. It does have a bit of maintenance that is needed, so let's snap that up. Absolutely. And we're going to base this new aircraft out of Zurich and use for regional European routes, so that should start generating some solid income. So with that aircraft now purchased and in our back pocket, we'll go over and assign this a pilot so it can start working for us while we continue flying missions ourselves, because passive income is the key to growing this airline. So let's just check the maintenance. That's not good. 1.3 million of credits worth of maintenance is needed. We've only got 160,000 in the bank. So running an airline actually turns out is quite expensive. We can fix a landing gear, so let's do that for 130,000. It's not everything, but it's something. So let's skip ahead.
3 days later.
So a few days have passed after doing a few flying missions, and I've whacked myself 2.5 million credits in the bank. So passive income doing its job there. So with that money, let's carry out some essential maintenance on that secondary aircraft that we bought. So 1.2 million done. Let's get this aircraft a detailed clean as well, and with the money that we still have, we may as well carry out some maintenance checks and a wash on our other aircraft. Keeping the fleet healthy is part of the job. Amazing. Now with everything serviced, cleaned, the fleet is looking good again. But with our bank account back down to 450,000 credits, and if it drops below $1 million, it always feels like you're running dangerously low on my behalf. So let's jump into a airliner mission, and we're going to do a regional flight in the UK today, and we've got 2 on hand. So we will complete the Glasgow to Teesside International Airport, and it's an hour-long flight, paying just under 340,000 credits, which is not bad for an hour's work. So there is our routing being planned out now as we speak, and let's get into this. So we will go ahead and manage our aircraft. We'll go up and add some fuel, and we are going to skip to the runway. We won't do none of the taxi today. We're going to try and keep this very short and minimal, just for the money more than anything. So let's get on, as our Heart Aerospace just spawns randomly out of nowhere and parks absolutely the wrong way on the stand. We'll skip to the taxi. There we go. Okay, that's all done, so let's skip to takeoff. And we are departing runway 23 today. So let's get ATC clearance as we set up the autopilot. So this thing roughly brings us, from most of the missions what I have seen, our cruising altitude is roughly around about 14,000 feet. I like to do that around about 3,000 feet a minute on the takeoff. So get the seatbelt signs on, which should already be on anyway, but when we do the skips it automatically turns them off anyway. But landing lights are now on, and the logo light is now on as well. And still struggling on the navigation mode. We'll inform the passengers, release the parking brake, we'll throttle up to get ourselves moving and onto the active runway. Yeah, like I say, in the last episode I was struggling with the nav mode, and still am. I'm still having to do everything manual. I have done a few flights and the nav mode has just automatically started working and followed the planned route that's programmed into the flight computer, but then the majority of the time it doesn't work and I have to manually select the headings, and either I try and do a flight all the way through, which becomes very tedious because you have to stay with it at all times, or I think at the moment I'm just skipping on ahead just for the grind more than anything and going straight to the descent. But let's throttle up now and spool the engines back just a bit so we don't over torque the engines. Some wind's trying to push us off to the right hand side, but we'll lift up now. Another gust of wind taking us there with some slight crabbing. So as we go ahead and retract the gears, flaps are coming in as well, as the aircraft doesn't like it above 150 knots. So let's turn on the autopilot, move a bit closer, reposition ourselves. There we go. Let's see if the navigation mode works this evening, keeping my fingers crossed. So we're flying out runway heading, and as you can see by the markers, we do have a left hand turn as part of our Lucy 1A departure, and we are climbing for 11,000 feet today, so we'll get that programmed in shortly. We'll see if we can make this left-hand turn work. So just lowering that altitude now down to 11,000. There we go, perfect. And just coming up to the cloud base now as we start skimming through this. Left-hand turn coming up fairly shortly. I've turned off the nav aids as well, just because I want to try and keep this a bit more realistic. More that we progress in these airliners, I think the only times that I will be using them is ground movements into airports that I've never really kind of been to, more than anything. But left-hand turn is now coming in, and I'm hoping we see the aircraft roll to the left. Maybe not. so let's turn on the heading mode now, and let's roll the aircraft around to the left, bringing it on to the flight path. Well, the plan that is planned into our FMS today. And it's probably one of these things that I should start really toying around with whilst I am grinding out these missions. But again, I don't want to do that in my career mode, in case I lose aviator performance, which the better you do on these missions, the more of a payout you actually get. So if you don't skip, everything is absolutely pristine and perfect with the flight. Bad weather as well. You're paying out a lot of money on that mission. So what you see is kind of the base ballpark figure when you sign up for the mission. So the initial 340,000 pounds of credit is just a ballpark figure, where you do the no skipping and the airline performance, passenger satisfaction, all that goes into account into all the bonuses. But we are now just heading towards Teesside now on our flight path. We are at our cruising altitude, so let's skip on ahead. And here we are. We've skipped on ahead now, and Teesside is bang on dead ahead at our 12 o'clock. We are a bit high, so we are coming in quite drastically. The landing gear is down, the flaps are at full, and I'm hoping this kind of doesn't compromise the landing at all by the way that we're coming in at the moment. This is why I don't really like to skip on ahead, because I like to set up the approach myself. I know it's stabilised, whereas if you do skip on ahead, and it will literally throw you in at maybe 170 knots, maybe like a good 2,000 feet of what you should be at. But this is why I've had to kind of bring this in nose down and try and bleed off that altitude pretty quickly. But we do have quite a bit of airspeed as well, as the wind is knocking the aircraft from left to right, and I hope the passengers are seated up in the back, as we are on now short final, so we will continue. We still are a touch higher as we got the 4 lights on the pappies, aiming for that touchdown zone, trying to keep the aircraft stable. But these small little aircrafts do like to get knocked around in these winds. So throttling right back now and flaring out. Touchdown. And almost striking our right hand wing there. Oh my god. That was absolutely ridiculous, and for some reason, no idea why that happened, but as we Tokyo drifted down the runway on 2 wheels, a bit of rudder input managed to kind of correct that. So not the prettiest landing we've had on the channel so far, but luckily the aircraft is in one piece, and it made me think if part of the landing gear actually fell through the runway at one point. But let's get off the runway. Flaps are coming in now, and we've got our holding point just to our left hand side. So we will go on ahead and exit the runway here. Whew, what a landing that was, honest to God. I bet we will get a bit of passenger satisfaction knocked down for that one. So vacating here, and we will hold short and we will skip on ahead to on stand. We will spool down these 4 engines. So let's skip ahead. Okay, perfect, on stand. So let's just shut these engines down now, and it spawned us in on the correct way for once. Usually we're parked back to front on these stands, but throttling down now, waiting for the engines to shut down. So despite the slightly questionable landing on that, I'm going to say that's a mission success. There we go. Yeah, that confirms it for us. Mission success. So, yeah, 100% didn't respect the condition of the aircraft at all. And who am I to argue with that? We've still got a B though, so we'll take it. Let's go to headquarters now and get our pay packet. And that mission still earns us a nice 350,000 credits, and that's where we're going to wrap up on episode 11 today. In the background, I'm going to keep grinding away behind the scenes to see if we can expand the fleet even further. But as we all know, more aircraft means more income, and that costs a lot more money. And we also have to keep it into fact the maintenance of Vista Wings VIP. But that's where we will leave it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next Sunday.